let's talk about Inktober. So if you've never heard about it, it's a challenge created by Jake Parker in 2011, and it's focused on developing inking skills. From the name Inktober, it happens in October, and for each day of October you create one ink drawing. Each year there are prompts that you may or may not follow. That's your choice. And yeah, I guess that's all you have to know about it. 2018 is when I first tried to complete it, and I don't know when I stopped, but somewhere around week 1. And I continued to try to accomplish it almost every year after, and I didn't succeed until last year. Today, I want to talk about my previous attempts and also talk about my preparation for this year's Inktober that I'm going to treat a little bit different. But let's start with my previous tries. I took the sketchbook that I decided to dedicate strictly to Inktober only. And for each page you can see a prompt from 2018. The first day prompt was rainy day. I drew an alley in Krakow. I think I used pen for that, but let's continue. Those are not that interesting. The second day, I just drew some sheep. I remember I had a new brush pen that I didn't really know how to use, so this painting is pretty bad. On the left, it's the Inktober drawing from the next year, I believe. Here is a similar situation. We have cheese shop from 2018 and a drawing from the next year. Here I drew a manor, and I don't know where those came from, but I believe it's from the first year as well. You can see that those drawings are not very good, probably because I was rushing them, and ink is not my medium of choice, to be honest. Those are not from 2018 anymore, I think 2019 or even 2020. I don't know why I didn't draw anything on the first year. I think I gave up already on the day 5, so I guess I created only 4 drawings. Although here's a cigarette that matches the prompt, but I might have used the same prompts on the next year, so there are no dates, and I'm not sure if this is 2018 or 2019, but definitely not 2020. Here's Caged Bird that I didn't draw any year, it's just a sketch. Those 2 are definitely from 2020, and I actually did enjoy them. I cannot tell I enjoyed any of those previous ones, but those 2 I had really fun drawing, but they were too detailed to draw every day for the whole month. So started nicely, but as you know, I didn't manage to finish 2020 Inktober. Those 2 are also from 2020. Here is a similar motif of hamsters. Here on previous days there was one hamster collecting water drops to the walnut shell. And here are 2 hamsters walking in the rain with a leaf as an umbrella. Next 2 days we have dog and cat chilling by the fire. I think I tried to use the prompt. And here we have some pantry and cats. I like the look of those drawings. They're nice and detailed. I really like this style where you have so many details that it's visually interesting for a long time when you are trying to find all little details, but they took a long time to make. I really like the shading on this couch as well, and the shading on the sky and dark trees. This one seems from the year 1, but I'm not sure. And here I recognize some sketches that I think I was planning for the next days of Inktober. This one is from 2022. We jumped some years apart. Oh, sorry, this one was from 2022 as well, day 1, but this one must have been from 2020. So I guess I skipped 2021. Yeah, so Those alpacas are from 2022. I remember I did enjoy this. This was the first time I drew mountains with ink, and it was very challenging to me, but I liked the results. Here we also have 2022. I drew a horse and a goat. You can see that I started gradually going smaller and smaller. This drawing was very detailed. Here I had some smaller but detailed drawing and a full page drawing. And now we have much smaller roses and a very small dog. Here I had an idea for drawing. I remember I wanted to draw dogs, husky dogs with a sledge, but I didn't finish it. Here we have 3 puppies of Bernese Mountain Dog. I decided to use some colorful ink here. Here again we have much smaller drawings. They're still pretty detailed. Both of those animals have a lot of fur, but I really like that I decided to try some blocks of really dark color. And those are, I think, my favorite drawings from Inktober. I really enjoyed working on this toucan and I like the final effect. I was thinking about turning it into a lino cut one day. I also like this chameleon. I like the level of details in this picture, the different textures of the leaves. And while looking at the distance, I think that there are so many details on this chameleon that it seems to be camouflaging a little bit with the background. I'm not sure. That's my impression, but let me know what you think. And here I must have had so much less time because this drawing looks pretty quick. There aren't that many details. And for this horse, I decided to use some brush pens. To be honest, drawing horses with ink is difficult to me. I don't like the style of this horse, so I didn't really know how to draw another one and mark all of those shadows without doing so much cross-hatching. Perhaps it would be easier with this style. It's much more smooth, but I think I used pen, not ink pen for that. Here again, I was using those brush pens in gray color, and I also drew a little flower. This flamingo was inspired with the style of those 2 drawings. I liked the style so much that I wanted to repeat it. It's not as good and it's also smaller, probably because I realized it takes too much time. But this style definitely is faster because a lot of it is dark black, solid color that I used my brush pen for. So it was not that time consuming, especially the toucan and the flamingo. Then I draw a hare, I think that's how it's called. For this giraffe, I also used some brush pens. Then I drew those flowers. There are actually a lot of drawings from this 2020. Yeah, but that's the last one. So how many did I do? Okay, I've counted and I did 19 paintings. And if we include the sketch that I didn't finish, it would be 20, but I don't think we can include it. So this was the last one from 2022. And now we get to 2023. I don't know how, but I managed to do that. This is the first drawing from the last year. And it's a cut. It's a big full page cut. It took me quite a long time, but it was the first day, so everyone is motivated on the first day. Then I wanted to do something in the style of those 2, of course. I thought about 2 toucans, mirrored image. I wanted it to be symmetrical. It's good, but not great. I think those beaks are too small now, looking at it. I've never realized that before, but yeah, they don't do great. And on the next 2 days, I decided I have to go smaller. I cannot handle such big pictures. I decided to draw 2 rectangles and I put my drawings in them. I really like those 2. Both are from the same genre of farm animals and I had fun drawing them. I really like those dots on this thing that I have no idea what it's called. Then I drew 2 dogs in the same way by drawing 2 rectangles. Then I counted the pages and it turned out I didn't have enough left, so I had to try utilizing both pages. And here I tried to do two drawings but connected to each other. So there's this line that divides them, but they create one bigger picture. But one was drawn on one day and the other one on another, of course. So those are kingfishers looking at each other. The next day I decided to draw some horses. You can see that I decided to drop the frames. I just drew some little frames with the pencil to know where the drawing should end, but I didn't draw them with ink. On the first of this horse day, I drew this and I really hated it. I didn't like the style of it. I didn't like that those lines are so sloppy. The hair looks very bad. Yeah, so on the next day, I remember I tried to look for some pictures online of horses drawn with ink, and then I drew this. It's not perfect, but much better than this one. Still, it was hard to me to draw a horse. I don't know why, but I struggle a lot with drawing horses with ink. Okay, next on this page, I also created two drawings for two separate days, and both are animals from the forest or something like that. This is a golden peasant, which actually probably doesn't live in the forest, but anyway. And here's a deer or a moose, not sure now, but I remember I had an accident drawing this. I accidentally dropped my pen, which made a big spot of ink somewhere. So thanks to this happy accident, I discovered I can take a water pen and do some solid colors with just the ink from my pen. So on the next page, you can see that I started using this technique. I draw those seals, which look really great with this watered ink, and also those penguins, which are not that nice, but also this style matches them. And then I decided to break some rules because, to be honest, ink is not my favorite. I really wanted to add some color, and those birds, puffin birds, I guess that's what they are called, they are very colorful, and it was painful to me to draw such a colorful bird and not add any color to it. So I added some watercolor pencils layer to it. On the next day, I returned to horses. So there are two, of course, one was for one day, one for another. This is how I was trying to cope with making so many drawings. Here I used this water technique again, which allowed me to make this horse light, but also introduce some shadows. But I can see I did some sloppy job here, trying to add shadows with cross-hatching. I don't really like it. Okay, this drawing is probably where I pushed the boundaries a lot, because those are also two drawings. On the first day, I drew this little dog here, this French bulldog, I guess. And on the next day, I drew the other dog and the armchair. Yeah, so I was on the edge here. I really had no time, I suppose, so I decided to resolve it that way. Here I drew another two horses, and you can see that using this water technique was much easier for me than just using cross-hatching. Those horses are much better than the previous ones. I could add a lot of shadows, but at the same time it wasn't that hard to do, because with cross-hatching it wouldn't be easy for me to achieve such light shadows. Those might look like two pictures, but they're actually four. So of course I drew one hedgehog for one day and one heron for one day, but I really like the idea that pictures from different days create one coherent picture. Here's a page of 3 days drawing farm animals. So there's a duck or a goose, not sure, probably duck, 2 bunnies and a turkey. I had high hopes for this turkey, but the level of details was too much for my skills. Those peacocks are also from 2 days. So on first day I drew only half of the drawing, and on the other one the other half. And on the final day I drew this baby Yoda with Halloween pumpkin carved to look like him. I'm not sure if it's visible, but I hope it is. And I also added some watercolor pencils to it to make it more interesting. Yeah, but this is the Inktober from the last year. You can see that I did a lot of little things to make me finish it. So I started with making the pictures smaller. Then I decided it's a little bit boring, so I tried to merge two pictures into one. I discovered this technique that allowed me to work faster. I made the pictures even smaller. This might be considered cheating. I don't know what you think about it. Then drawing two separate pictures transformed to drawing one coherent pictures, but during 2 days. Yeah, and that's all. This is how I survived last year. I remember it was extremely hard, especially that I was recording shorts from all of the pictures, so it was a challenge, but I managed and I'm really proud of myself. But let's talk about this year's Inktober now. It's not much time left, so I have to prepare. This book is finished. I cannot use it anymore. I've been thinking about how to tackle it to finish it successfully. So learning from previous Inktobers, I know that the size of the sketchbook must be small, so I've been thinking about using this little sketchbook compared to my hands. My hands are very small, so it might seem bigger than it is in reality, but to give you something more reliable, it's 12 by 12 centimeters and 4.7 by 4.7 inch. I've had such sketchbook before. I would like to show it to you, but I honestly have no idea where it is. It's the same sketchbook but with red cover, and I use it while traveling. I haven't filled all the spaces in it, but I like to have sketchbook for different purposes. So I wanted to have a new one for Inktober, similarly to what I showed you before. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it only for Inktober, but I would like it to be mostly for ink. It's also the same one as this bigger one, which I'm not sure if I've shown on this channel yet or not. I've had it for a short period of time. It's the same brand, just bigger size, because they have many various sizes. Amount of pages seems the same, and it's a pretty nice sketchbook. It can handle some water. This is painted with gouache and the paper is barely wrinkled. There are some wrinkles here, but it's really not that bad. I've been mostly using it for drawing, but it should handle some other medium. So I think I'm going to use this with ink, but since on previous Inktobers it was hard for me to work in ink only, I'd really like to work in color, unfortunately for the Inktober. I think I'm going to add some color here, maybe with gouache. I would really like to add watercolor because I do enjoy this style of watercolor combined with ink. However, I'm not sure if this paper will handle it, but if not, I do have such paper. It's a Polish brand that is very affordable. It's 100% cotton, and they do have some blocks like this one with glued edges, and they come in many different sizes, but I think A6 is more than enough for Inktober. So I think I might use this one. It also has very smooth pages. There is slight texture, but it shouldn't be too hard on the ink. I forgot the name. Ink liners. That's what they are called, I think. And if this texture is too thick, I also do have some other sketchbook. This is watercolor paper. It's very smooth, much smoother than this one, but also thicker than this one, and it's watercolor paper, 100% cotton, so it will handle watercolor well. So if this one is not enough, I might be mixing those three this Inktober. So another thing that is difficult during the Inktober's is that it's in October and there is very little daylight in Poland at that time of the year. I usually draw or paint in artificial light, and I did buy quite a light bulb last year, but to be honest, it still looks pretty dark on the camera, so I have no idea how I'm going to handle this yet. So I plan to upload every drawing on Instagram daily, and I think I'm going to at least try to record weekly videos for YouTube. I don't know if I will be successful yet. Maybe it will be easier to make bi-weekly ones. We will see. It is a very intense time to not only to draw but also edit everything. Yeah, so those are my plans. I hope I will succeed. Let me know in the comments if you have ever attempted Inktober, and if so, if you succeeded in completing it. Also, let me know of your struggles or why you stopped. Yeah, I'm really curious about why other people gave up on Inktober. I think it's a very difficult challenge, and there might be many reasons why